Hi, everyone. I'd like to introduce Team Insight. My name is Katie. This is Johnny, Stuart, and Joseph behind me. Working with this team actually has been amazing. They're each very talented, and we all have very different backgrounds. And I've honestly never laughed so much in 48 hours. So I apologize to everybody who sat near me. Coming together on Friday, we all had a lot of great ideas around space tourism that we were equally passionate about. But by about 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, we still hadn't settled on an idea that was unique to space. We thought a lot about what tourism would actually look like, but we realized the problem wasn't sharing photos or experiences thanks to Twitter and Instagram, like space selfies. So finally, we decided the problem was adapting to space, zero gravity, and orientation, knowing where you are and what you need to do while you're up there. What happens after the first week when the novelty of puking in a bag wears off, and then you know how to brush your teeth? So we decided on the concept that the next level of space tourism is an experience that provides you with a connection to your surroundings. So I'm going to pass it to Johnny and Joseph to explain how we plan on doing that.
All right, so I'm demoing the heads-up display that we were envisioning for space. So in the left bottom corner, there are two bars. This O2 bar that shows your oxygen, and this activity bar so that you don't get too active, tire yourself out, you sort of know what's going on. There is a clock as well down here, as well as your distance from the ISS. And at the top, if there's something that you need to know, you'll get a notification of some kind telling you, for example, to sleep or something, because you're not really used to space itself. If you wanted to, let's say, look around, you could point and go, all right, so like, what's over there? And we will bring up some contextual information and a picture from either the Hubble or some of the current databases for faraway objects, allowing you to explore the galaxy from where you are. And then, for example, let's say you're playing around with your friends. You can, let's say, you can click or point at your friend, and you'll be able to get contextual information. All right, who am I pointing at? Because obviously it's really hard to tell. And then there is a navigation system as well, which John will explain.
Right, so let's say you're traveling with a couple buddies and you're doing a spacewalk together and you sort of lose sight of each other and you want to find him again. So through a voice command, you can issue something like, oh, bring me to Jim. And what this mini-map will do is actually set a waypoint to Jim. So Jim would be this little guy with the green arrow. So that would be your waypoint, and then the system would sort of direct you in how to get there. So it works the basic XY, sort of how a typical XY mini-map would work. The only difference being that you have these colors. So white means that you're actually on the same plane as your waypoint, and if it's orange, that means you're off. So it'll direct you actually in 3 dimensions. How do I get to Jim face to face?
So as you can imagine, this would make playing around in space and having a lot of fun really easy. Another thing that you could do is sort of look at nearby objects. You can sort of see, get a bit more information, or you're flying above Earth, and you sort of, let's say I'm from Montreal. We will pop up a little waypoint showing you, all right, here's where your home is, and maybe a little bit of information about what's going on at the time.
So we made a few assumptions in this challenge. So number one, we're assuming that space travel is affordable, that tourists can venture out into open space using their suits and move around using propulsion jetpacks. We also assume that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth were available, and that a typical vacation time is about 1 to 2 weeks. So technology we use, so this is a heads-up display solution. So it's not platform agnostic. So if you're out in space, the heads-up display would be on your spacesuit. If you're in the ISS or something, it'd be on some sort of goggles that are, Google Glass or whatever is fashionable at the time.
So Team Insight had a goal, and that was to make an impact. In time, space will become the new destination location for tourists. Insight caters to every type of tourist, from those who want to relax and enjoy their tour, to those who want to learn more and actively engage in their surrounding environment. The experience comes together while ensuring that all these tourists are monitored and safe. We want to gather a lot of data, everything from knowing what health effects come from that short term in space, and at the end of the day, push that data to NASA and then those coming to conclusions to help the future of space tourism.
So our next steps would be complete the app using native programming languages. For the purpose of this demo, we just use CSS and JavaScript, but we initially eventually like to use something like C++ or something that would be more platform agnostic. Validate the concept with proper experts in the field, and ideally launch a pilot program so that current astronauts can. Are we done? Oh.
Remember, guys, there's more to space than just the view, so never tour without insight.
Mike? Okay. Great start, guys. I think you have focused more on the applications of using wearable technology for space tourists and not necessarily engaging the public and sharing that, which is fine. The only thing I would say is, since that's the focus, maybe think about how heads-up displays, augmented reality, and interface on the heads-up display can help these tourists to adjust to the environment. As you know, there is a lot of problems with orientation, like you mentioned. So potentially, how could heads-up display build an artificial environment around the user in the first few days to be able to adjust to the multidimensional environment that they're exposed to?
Yeah, definitely. We have a basic idea of how heads-up display could potentially work in space, but not a full-fledged view of it. And that's why we suggested launching a pilot program so that we can get that application up there and see what problems current astronauts encounter with it, and then allow us to make the modifications that we need to do to the app, for sure.
So again, I'll make some comments. I could see that as something, because we have robots that are called spheres. They're the circular robots that go around space station, and it would be really fascinating if those had that interface where as it goes around, it's like, oh, that's a wrench that we lost. Oh, there's my fork. Because that's what happens in space. So it'd be really, I really like all the different things that you added to it. So just trying to think for now, between now and space tourism, there are some really interesting potential uses for that. I'm still thinking that. Did you have any questions? All right.
Thanks, guys.